Des Moines. Today on Invitation by Invictus, we have Annie Giudicessi. I didn't mess it up.
No, you didn't.
I practiced it. Of Hey Jude Communications, or just Hey Jude.
Yes.
The reason why I asked Annie to come today is because Annie specializes in social media.
Yes.
And just like I told Chris Snyder, who was on the show earlier, social media, I feel like, is the Wild West of digital media.
Correct.
It's constantly changing and evolving. And I thought, why not bring somebody who deals with this animal every day, all day long, as their particular job?
It's a beast.
It is.
It is an unknown beast a lot of the time, too. So it's crazy.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah. And I've been doing it for 14 and a half years.
Holy
so
crap.
It's changed a ton in the entire time I've been doing it.
So let's talk about that. How did you get in social media specifically?
My dad is a retired teacher.
Okay.
Who retired very young because he invested well.
Yeah.
And he retired when I was 20, and he got bored really fast.
Yeah.
And so he started a consulting business because as a teacher, you have to renew your teaching certificate. And he learned how to build websites. And so he needed people to build websites for. And Facebook launched like business pages. And I was like, this shit looks cool. I want to try it.
Yeah.
Dad, give me your logo. And he's like, why? I'm like, don't ask. Just give me your logo.
Yeah.
And so I did it for him. And so my dad is my longest client. And it was totally just because I wanted to see what it was like.
As an experiment.
Yeah, it was an experiment.
Yeah.
And it worked. And Christopher's, the restaurant in Beaverdale, is my family.
Oh.
And eventually I took over doing theirs and got paid in pizza for a while.
Dope.
Yeah, it was kind of sweet. It was like my part-time, I got paid in pizza gig while I was working in a cubicle.
Yeah.
And
because what was your real job at the time?
my real job at the time was a customer service representative at Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. I got yelled at every day.
Oh, that sucks. Because people were pissed about their mortgage payments?
Yeah, I graduated from college in 2006, so this was 2008.
Oh,
and
crap.
It was everyone was getting
boom.
foreclosed on.
Yeah.
It was great. It was super great. No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I needed something fun when I wasn't at work.
Yeah.
And then eventually, years and years and years down the line, I got a job working at a marketing agency.
Okay.
And they had no one that did social media.
Well, this was 2008, right?
No, I got it was 2016 or 2015 when I got a job at a marketing agency.
Okay.
It took me a full decade to get an adjacent job to my degree.
Yeah.
And
Because what's your degree?
I have a communication degree, so I could have done anything, but
And you went to Drake, right?
no, I went to Central.
Central, okay.
I am very connected to Drake because my mom and brother both went there.
Yeah, okay.
And my mom worked at Drake for 10 years.
Okay. So you went to Central, got a comms degree.
Yeah.
Came out, worked for a shitty mortgage.
Yeah.
Call center job.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't find a job,
Yeah.
right?
And it had good benefits. And
yeah.
You can't give that stuff up. It's they're paying me extra to work from noon to 9. Okay.
Yeah. And so you did, so basically you were running social media as a side hustle for 10 years.
For 10 years. And then I got a job at a marketing agency that specialized in print services.
Oh, okay.
And we all know that that's not as prevalent. I mean, we all still print business cards and some of us print letterhead, but it's kind of hard to get people on board with just straight up strict print.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, print's slowly dying.
Yes.
Truthfully.
And my boss was heavily in marketing before she went there. It was her family's business. And so they hired me because I knew social media and I had good customer service skills. I had never sold anything in my life.
Right.
Other than books and bank accounts.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because I worked retail. And so that's the only stuff I ever did was selling clothes. And so I worked there for a year and had helped on a couple of big projects they had with social media because they had no one other than me. And I started doing their social media.
Okay.
And eventually I got laid off. And I looked at my dad and I said, I don't think I want to look for another job.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you've been talking for months about wanting to work for yourself and do social media full time. Now is the chance.
Yeah.
And so the day after I got laid off from my job, I jumped off a cliff and started working for myself.
So 2017.
It was June of 2016. This year will be my 7th anniversary.
Nice. Dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very unplanned.
Okay.
Everybody's like, how did you do this? I was like, don't do it like me. Like have a business plan before you jump off a cliff.
I was the same way. I said, fuck it. And I was just
it was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I talked to my brother and he was like, just do it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You have to go get a job.
A real job again.
Yeah. Cause I got a severance package. So it was like, I might as well like stick around and try this for myself. And oddly, the first big project I had was with the marketing agency I'd worked for. Because they asked me if I would freelance for them, and I said, sure. I mean, what the hell else am I going to do?
They cut your job.
They cut my job.
But then they said, it's more conducive if you freelance for us.
Yes, because they only had a handful of social projects. So I would freelance when they thought they could get a social project. They'd like have me build like what I would think I would charge for it and do like audits of people's social media and websites, because that was the shit I was really good at.
So you do a deep dive of their
I would
everything.
They'd pay me to do a deep dive of somebody's website if they were going to be like pitching a website to somebody, because I had the time to do it and my boss didn't. And I mean, to this day, I've been on my own for 6.5 years and she's still my mentor.
Oh, that's great.
So
and
like,
who's that?
Her name's Amy Eaton, and she works for
Women Lead Change.
Women Lead Change, yeah.
Yeah, we shot some stuff for them.
She's fantastic.
Amy's dope.
She is like my favorite person on the planet.
Yeah.
And I would not be capable of doing any of the things I am if I hadn't had a year working under Amy.
And where was Amy at before she went to Women Lead Change?
She was at Allegra, which is a marketing company.
Yeah, okay.
Which her dad and uncle owned at the time, and they have sold since then.
Correct.
But yeah, I worked for her for a year, and she taught me how to network, which like I didn't know how to do.
Network's actually easy. Just be yourself. People just overthink it.
Yeah, I was the overthinker, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And the number of people who were like, are you Amy's sister? And I was like, no, I'm like not her intern either. I'm older than you think I am. Yeah. Because I looked like a baby. She'd bring me everywhere. Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But because of that, like I was capable of like, I learned how to build a website in a day.
Okay.
And launched all of my social stuff. And I was hitting the ground and hustling and signing clients within a couple of weeks. I mean, Christopher's finally started paying me outside of pizza.
Outside the pies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I miss that.
Yeah.
Food's great.
Food's great, but food don't pay the bills, homie.
Exactly. So, I've grown over the last 6.5 years, and it's wild and crazy.
You've been killing it.
Yeah.
Because how I found you was I was inside of Fem City one day, and somebody was like, I need help with social media. And I was like, yeah, bitch, everybody needs help with social media, right? And then I kept seeing, check out, hey Jude, and then go from there. And I was like, who is this lady?
It looks like I pay people to do it, and I don't. I mean, one of my favorite stories is Brittany Brown, that owns Imperfect Inspiration.
Correct.
When she was still a photographer was the first time I worked with her.
Okay, and what year was that?
I think it was end of 2016.
Okay.
And so she had posted on her personal Facebook page and in the BAB Des Moines group asking for social media. And like on each post, 10 people suggested me. And when we met in person the first time, I was like, I swear, I don't bribe people to list my name. But we have enough friends in common.
Yeah. Well, Des Moines' that small, though.
Yeah. And like I go way back with her family, not knowing it at the time.
Oh.
Because her uncle and my uncle used to like do the Iowa Cubs stuff together.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So her uncle still works for the Iowa Cubs. Mine does not.
Okay.
He sold it. So.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was like, I swear I didn't do this. And I have to do that every time because it looks like terrifying that people will list me that many times. And it's like, why am I really like imposter syndrome takes over?
Well, I think it's because social media, again, is such a unique thing. It's its own beast. So if somebody's really good at that, then that's who you want to go with, right?
Well, and it's because for me, I specialize in it. I don't do SEO. I don't do video content. I mean, I'll do some for clients, but if they're like, hey, I really need some extensive video, I'm sending them your way. I'm not doing it myself.
We're the same way. I'm not going to touch your SEO. I'm not going to touch your social media. Hell no on that. And I'm going to send you to the professionals that do that all day long. And that's what they get paid to do. And they do it really well.
Yeah. And so I, over the years, have had people be like, hey, would you ever consider doing this? And it's like, no. And like there are certain parts of social I won't get into because
Such as?
I do not want to be a creator on TikTok.
Really? You're not a TikTok fan?
I love TikTok and I love what it can do for people, but it is so much work that like as a one person operation, there is no way I could manage somebody's TikTok and do it justice.
Okay.
And I wouldn't do it to my standard. And so I just hate myself all the time, or I would never sleep. Because like Brittany is excellent at TikTok. It is the whole reason her business hit where it is.
Well, she has imperfect imperfections, right?
She has imperfect inspiration and copy and paste.
Yeah.
And then they have the Brain Fetty subscription box.
Yes.
She launched 3 businesses in the span of like a year.
Yeah. I can't keep up with that lady, for real.
She exhausts me thinking about her life. And the funny thing is like we're good friends, so it's like if I go to their office, I have all these people that I know and get to hang out with. So as a person of one, getting to go like hang out in somebody else's office is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because like the only interaction I have during the day is like with my computer.
Correct.
Or my cats.
Yes.
Or my dog.
Yeah. So it's always good to be in a creative space.
Yes. And that's like one of the most creative spaces I've ever been in because everybody there is a creative and they're all creators in their own way.
Well, they just moved into bigger space, right?
Yeah, they have a giant warehouse now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. That's amazing that they just blew up like that.
Yeah. And so they're really great at TikTok.
Right.
And Brittany has built an incredible audience there. And like, if I wanted to, I could try, but I don't really enjoy talking about what I do for a living on my own social because the thing is that people know if you know how to do it. Like I don't need to tell them you should be posting X number of times a day because they can Google that. And they probably know that from some webinar they took or like somebody else that told them or an article that they read. When it comes to what I do, there are so many people, especially in Des Moines, that do it or that you can hire that live in a different part of the country or a different country.
Yeah.
And for me, it is that I am fairly hyper localized. I only have one client that's not based in central Iowa.
Yeah.
And so it's about getting to know me and
well, it's the access to you.
Yeah. And so for me, it's more of I want people to understand who I am because you do business with people that you like.
Well, it's not transactional. It's about relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that's the heart of what small businesses do.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a team of one.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to work with a shitty client.
Yeah. No.
Seriously, nobody does, right? So
I've been there.
all of us have been there and we've learned from those mistakes. So, it's much easier to have a relationship with somebody, especially when you're running their social media, because you have to know who they are and what they're doing to make it all work.
Yes, because I don't often say, oh, I work with this client because I don't want anybody to figure out that I'm the one doing it because I want it to seem natural that like if I was doing yours, that it would sound like it was you that was doing it.
Yeah.
And so I have some people that I've worked with in the past that can pick up on things that I do. And they're like, are you working with this person now? And I'm like, yes, why? And they're like, well, because I noticed things changed and it seemed kind of like the way it changed when you started doing mine. And I'm like, okay. And it's because I have been doing it for so long that like I have enough ways in place for me to do the things to give the kind of content that people are looking for. And I don't push people to be super public about themselves the way that I am on my social until they're comfortable with it, especially with me doing it.
Okay.
Because like I have a new client who's like, okay, I think I'm ready to like start showing the personal side of me and not just the transactional, this is what I do for a living. And so we've started doing that. We're a couple of months into working together. And I did a post for her last week that was about her kids. And she texted me and she was like, I'm crying reading this.
Aw.
She's like, you really hit the mark and understand who I am and what I would say. And so it's me learning enough about my clients that I can sound like them. And so it feels like a multiple personality disorder, but there are a lot of voices in my head and there are other people's.
Yes.
But it's about making sure that a business's voice is what's coming through.
Correct.
And it's not mine.
Yes.
Because if it was me doing everybody's, there would be a lot of swear words and a lot of cat pictures. I mean, like my cats are literally listed on my website as like employees.
Yeah.
So one is the office meownager and the other one is the assistant to the office meownager. manager.
Okay.
Which is an office joke.
Yeah.
And if people get it, it's like, okay, you're my people.
Yeah.
Or if they mention that they saw my cats on the website, because you should click a button to get to it. It's not like the cats are listed on the homepage. So it's a sign that somebody actually took the time to look at my website.
Correct.
So for me, like the content that does well for me is like, if I talk about my cats, or if I talk about my niece and nephew, or my brother, or my dad or my mom, and the people that are in my family and are the reason that I am who I am. Mm-hmm. And also part of that is because like half of my dad's students follow me on social.
Okay.
Because my dad is not on social. So he taught at DMAC for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And so the students who were like, oh, well, we would love to be friends with your dad on Facebook, but he's not on it. And I'm like, yeah, no, he's never going to be on it.
Yeah.
So they follow me because I post things about my dad.
Your family.
Yeah. So like every Mother's Day is about how I'm so lucky to have two moms, because I have my mom and my stepmom, and they are both equally active and important in my life, and my brothers and my niece and nephew. Or like last week was Women and Girls in Sports Day, and I posted a picture of my niece who's a softball player.
Yeah.
And she's 10, and she's like my idol. And so like this 10-year-old softball player, people are more interested in me doing that. So I use every stupid hashtag holiday possible that I can find that's like, oh, let me talk about being Italian, or let me talk about how I really love sports, or let me talk about how Super Bowl Sunday is on Sunday and I'm a giant Chiefs fan. Okay. You know, all of these things that tell about who I am, because
they're personable. It's
personable, and it builds a relationship with somebody so they feel like they're talking to you. Because my method with social media is I want everybody to feel like it's their digital storefront. And if somebody is conversing with your social, that they feel like they're talking to you.
Correct.
And they don't feel like they're talking to like an answering service.
Yeah.
Or a bot.
Or you're just grabbing somebody else's caption and putting it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I am never going to do that. None of my clients' content looks the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's each to their own specific brand. And it's because that's way more fun.
Yeah.
It gives me the chance to be more creative, but it also means that they are shining through, not me.
Yeah, for sure.
That while my work is great and cool and all of those things, it's not me that's the focus or the story. It's the client.
Yeah, nice. So are you currently taking new clients?
Well, I was.
Not right now.
Not currently, because I signed a new project last week, and I have another one that's kind of pending out there.
Okay.
And as a office of one, I have a pretty limited capacity.
Well, yeah, that's why I ask.
Yeah. But I'm always somebody who's game to talk to somebody, because for the right project, I might find room. I mean, we all would, if it's the thing that like is going to make our soul feel like it's on fire.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't want to overextend myself and not give every client 100%.
So how many clients are you roughly running right now?
Oh, let me think about this. I don't know. I've lost track.
Ballpark, Annie. 15?
Less than that, actually. I think I'm probably around 10.
10. 10's good. I mean, you're a one-person shop.
Yeah.
That's a lot. 10 social medias, because you're running Facebook, Instagram.
Yes.
Are you doing LinkedIn?
I do LinkedIn for some.
Okay.
And some I don't do any of their management, which is wonderful.
Okay.
Some are like we're posting every day, and some are we post like twice a week.
Yeah.
So it depends. There's a spectrum of it.
Okay.
But I just try to make sure that I can do the best for everybody.
For sure.
So I'm highly selective about who I take too, because as you said before, we've all had the shitty clients and we don't want to work with them.
No.
I have a radar that goes off if I can tell that somebody's going to not be a great experience.
Yeah. Nobody wants to work with shitty humans.
Yeah. And so if I think that if I'm not the right fit for somebody, I try to find someone who
recommend.
is.
That's good.
So I have tons of friends that do the same stuff I do. And I keep in contact with them. They are local. Some of them are not.
Yeah.
But it's for me, like if somebody comes to me and they're like, we really need SEO and like click at, Google ads and all of this stuff. I'm like, I am not who you are looking for.
Click funnels and all that good stuff.
I'm like, you want to talk to my friend Andy at Creative DSM. Mm-hmm. And if they're like, we need an entire rebrand and a brand new website, I'm like, you would like to contact Kat at Project 7 because like that's not my area of expertise.
Socials.
I just do social.
Okay.
So it limits me, but it also means that I am highly in tune with everything.
Yeah. I mean, we're the same way. We only do photography and video. That's it. We do content creation.
Which is the fun part.
Yeah. And then we hand the shit over to you, and then it goes where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and I tell people when I meet with them, I'm very deliberate in what I say. I will create your content with my team, but at that point, we hand it back over to you. And if you need somebody or a team to help you with this or whatever, then I'm gonna recommend, these are the people I recommend.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to touch the shit, for real.
I don't blame people who don't want to. The last several years, social media in general has felt like the most toxic relationship any of us are in.
It's a roller coaster.
And it's like you're hanging out at a party and you only really like 2 people and the rest of them are mean to you. Like, why do you want to be there? And like, I steal that from like Ed Sheeran, who talks about like, sometimes he just disappears from social because he's like, it's like you've been invited to a party and you don't like everybody. But the thing is that nobody likes you and they're all going to tell you how much they hate you.
Yeah.
Why would you want to hang out at that party?
Yeah.
And so like I have a lot of friends who are like, I'm getting off social, or I'm only sticking to one platform, or, you know, I'm only going to be on Instagram because I don't want to be on Facebook. And then you have to go, you know that they own Instagram, right?
Yeah, they own both.
And they're like, oh, well, I only use this. And it's like, okay, well, you do you. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so like for me, like I don't get to disconnect for extended periods of time.
Well, you can't.
I literally can't, because like the worst could happen when I try to disconnect.
Yeah.
My favorite story is before I was even working. I was a freelancer at the time, and I was sitting at my best friend from childhood's wedding.
Okay.
And somebody left a post on Christopher's Facebook page that was like, we were told it'd be 15 minutes. We've been waiting for 45. Like, what are we supposed to do? And I'm sitting at Hyperion, like the golf club, at a wedding reception in the dress that I wore to the wedding. And I'm like, I have to handle this. So my dad was on the other side of the like
reception,
area, and my dad runs their website, and I run over and I was like, Dad, what do I do? And he's like, well, you know what to do. So I contact my cousins who are at the restaurant, because my favorite thing is that people are mad at a restaurant and they go on Facebook instead of going to the host stand.
I don't understand that anymore.
I don't either, but it happens all the time.
All the time.
And so I was like, hey, this post just popped up. I am at a wedding, so I can't really do a ton about it. But this is the name of the person. This is all this.
Yeah.
And by the end of the night, the person deleted the first post and said that they had the best night they'd ever had there. Because the restaurant went above and beyond to take care of them.
Yeah.
But it was me literally fixing it in the middle of a wedding.
Yeah.
And that's like not ideal. Like, you're supposed to be enjoying dinner and dancing and celebrating your best friend getting married.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's my job. So it, like, when I'm like, I need to take some time off, my therapist has made me start like signing out of my email and going like more than 24 hours without checking it. And I'm like, at what point when I start twitching, can I check it? Can I have my mom check my email? Can I have my dad check my email? Can my best friend check my email? And they're like, no, you can't touch it.
You have to disconnect to a certain extent.
Yeah, I was a super burnout. And so for me, it was just like, okay, I have to. And so I was like, I am disconnecting for a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
You can all survive. If you need something and it's urgent, you all have my number. You can text message me. But if it is not deemed urgent, I'm not actually doing anything about it.
I think I saw like sometime last week, somebody posted like just kind of like some food for thought. And it was, if you can't go on a walk without being connected to technology, you've got some problems you got to work through.
Oh, that's me. It's entirely me.
I'm like that to a certain extent. Yeah. Like, you know, it's just when you run a business, you're just like...
You feel like you need to give it all of your attention all the time.
110%.
And it is a killer for personal relationships, and it is a killer for your mental health, and it leads to burnout in the worst of ways.
Creative burnout is a real thing. I don't think people really realize how prevalent it can be.
It's especially prevalent in social media managers. Mm-hmm. Because like for us, like the last several years have been like a world that's like the inside out. I don't even know. Mm-hmm. And everybody else who's like, it's really bumming me out, I'm going to sign off for a while. Social media managers can't. And if their business does something wrong, they're the ones who are also taking the brunt of the hatred or any of that stuff.
It doesn't get to the owner until you share it with the owner.
And so it is a super common thing for social media managers to experience burnout. And a lot of people don't last in the job that long because of it.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're supposed to be connected. And if you work for an agency, they think you're supposed to be connected 24 hours a day. And working for businesses that do stay open late, like I don't want to answer a question at 2:00 in the morning at bar close.
Yeah.
I'm asleep, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just the reality of, because social is 24/7, the end user thinks that their response should become immediate.
Oh yeah, trust me. I had to deal with the Hall's backlash because of the post that Nick made that was supposed to be a joke.
Oh,
yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, I did crisis PR. I think I specialize in crisis PR because I worked for Nike for 15 years. So.
The crisis stuff can actually be fun.
No, that shit was not.
That wouldn't be, but like I feel like in a lot of the circumstances, like I had one client that I worked with that within like 2 days of me being hired was the day that the Urbandale and Des Moines police officers were killed. And it was the Urbandale Centennial Committee, and it immediately went from we're celebrating that Urbandale's turning 100 to we just lost one of our police officers. And it's like, how do we handle this? Well, I knew immediately how to kick into gear.
Yeah.
So when something like, in the world is blowing up, or I know kind of how to handle that in a way that a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Because like my clients don't think that it's important to pause their social media if, like it's January 6th and the Capitol's getting attacked, but I know better than they do. And like, that's not when you should be posting about your upcoming event or what tonight's dinner special is.
Like Nick was like, well, this guy that we work with, he's like HR. I was like, I don't give a fuck what he says. You will leave that post and that will be the center of attention for a while. You need to do it. You open Pandora's box. It is what it is. You got to take the hits, homie.
Yeah, because if you delete it, you look twice as bad.
I was like, dude, it got shared 465 times. Seriously.
And half of the people laughed at it.
Yeah.
And half of the people didn't.
I was like, you're getting mixed things. Now, if it was all bad, this might be a conversation we have later.
Or that you share a post later that was like, clearly there is no sarcasm font.
Yeah.
Which there should be, but there is no sarcasm font, so you can't give
or an emoji
the context that goes with it. And so like I read it understanding that the context was like a frustrated business owner who was like, I'm going to make a joke out of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't go totally as they planned, but I laughed through part of it. But I was like, the next day I was like, oh, I am so glad I am not their social media manager.
I'm not their social media manager. Again, I just worked at Nike and learned crisis PR from a large Fortune 500 company that, like, I don't know, they like instill it in every employee, like low key.
This is what you do when there's a crisis.
This is when shit goes wrong, this is what you do. So,
and you're like, shouldn't you plan for shit to not go wrong?
I was like, Nick, you will never run social media again, ever. You have a post, you need to run it by everybody.
Hire a social media manager.
Here's the crazy part, they have one.
Oh, I would hate to be that social media manager.
Yeah, I think that was the number one comment was, I guess they'll be looking for a new social media manager. And she was like, her name is Kaylin Landis. And she was like, dude, I'm highly offended by that. And I was like, so happens when he goes rogue, yo.
Yeah, that would be like you should not do that.
Yeah,
it would be that would be a client where I would not give them access to their social media.
You should use that as an example of what not to do. All right, Rachel just flashed the on-air sign.
Okay,
so we have to wrap up because I think we can talk about this forever. I think we're just laughing and giggling about every stupid thing in the world. It seems like. Okay, so let's just kind of wrap up. For the viewers out there that are interested in social media, if you can give one really good, solid piece of advice, what would it be?
Be your most authentic self all the time.
Okay.
Because if you're being your most authentic self, you don't have to worry about what you're doing.
Okay. Sometimes
people are going to like it. Sometimes people aren't. But authenticity is key because that's the reason somebody's going to want to do business with you.
For sure. Okay. And Annie is not taking on clients, but you will have conversations.
Yes, I'm happy to help somebody, give advice, or figure out who might be best to help them if I'm not.
Yeah.
And like today I'm not, but tomorrow I might be. You know, it's
it
the ever-changing world.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Like I'm telling people all the time, I can't help you right now, but in like 2 weeks, I probably can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are like, okay, dope. Just let me know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cause that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah. For me, if I take on a new client, there's kind of like a lag of trying to onboard them.
For sure.
Before I'm willing to like bring on another client. Cause I've tried doing 3 at once and it was not pretty. I didn't sleep.
Yeah. And then if somebody is interested in potentially talking to you or having you take over their social media, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Email, it's Annie, ANNIE at heyjudedsm.com. Mm-hmm. And it's HEYGIUDDSM.com.
Okay.
So it's Hey Jude, spelled like my name, but like the Beatles song.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. Okay. So guys, if you guys need to talk to Annie, I'd highly recommend her. But you know, Annie will hook you up with somebody else that if you're not a good fit, she's got you.
Yeah. I always keep people in my back pocket.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it is. That's the referral system that we all build.
Yeah.
Right? All right, Annie, I'd love for you to come back because I'm sure we can go like another 30 minutes going down multiple rabbit holes for real and laughing about them because this is actually super fun. So check out Annie, heyjude.com, and then send her an email. Because I found you on your email and I was like, hey, you want to come on be on the show? Mm-hmm. And then check out the cats and and what's your socials?
It's Hey Jude DSM everywhere. So
there you go. Check Annie out everywhere. And then if you happen to see her, she's super personable. You can have great conversation with her. All right, guys, we appreciate everything and we out.